This is a giant tuna. It is the largest of the tunas. It usually reaches 7 feet long and weighs 250 kilograms, 551 pounds, with larger tunas reaching 10 feet long and weighing 500 kilograms, 1100 pounds. It's possible for even larger tunas reaching 16 feet long and weighing 1,000 kilograms, 2,000 pounds.
That's a big boy right there!
It is a type of game fish and seafood. In Japan, people fillet or cut these big fishies. It's one of my favorite things to watch.
We torch it.
Some people mistake it as a large predatory shark because it's so big. But really, it's just a friendly fish. But not only do people like to eat giant tunas. Even sharks like to eat giant tunas too. It was previously part of the Scomber genus of mackerel, until it was currently recognized as a bluefin in the genus Tunnus. In the past, it was known as a Pacific bluefin subspecies named the northern bluefin. It is also called the Atlantic bluefin tuna and was formerly named the tunny. This is a giraffe, Earth's tallest living animal. A bull usually towers 18 feet off the ground and weighs more than a ton, 2,000 pounds, with larger bulls towering 20 feet off the ground and weighing more than a metric ton, 2,200 pounds. It is oftentimes considered as a single species, Giraffa camelopardalis, that got divided into 9 subspecies. But current research shows that the giraffe is just one genus, Giraffa, with 3 or 4 species, with 2 or 3 species having subspecies. Other research says that there's 8 giraffe species. It got its scientific name from its scary nickname, the camelopard, and it was previously known as a giant deer. You'll see why later. The giraffe has the longest neck of any living animal, at more than 7 feet long, built by 7 long neck bones, used to reach tall trees that no other animal could reach, except for elephants. And no, it did not even get it from having its head stuck in a tree and stretching its neck so hard. It just got its signature neck because it evolved from awkward ruminants that look like deer, pronghorns, and antelopes. That also then brought rise to the most awkward animal, the okapi, which was previously named as a type of horse with zebra stripes. This big bird is the best example of a living dinosaur. Meet the cassowary, the Australian velociraptor. There are currently 3 living species in their own genus, Cassoreus, which originally contained the emu as a 4th cassowary species. But the 3 were previously considered as awkward-looking ostriches. Here's what makes the cassowary a real-life dinosaur, and the most dangerous bird on Earth. It stands almost 6 feet tall, and weighs from 88 to 200 pounds. And I like to call these weird birds, the chickens from hell. And here's why. Its feet hold 5-inch long talons, that are used for giving a victim broken bones from a single kick. They also have Wolverine-style clawed hands that give me goosebumps. When they fight each other, these terror turkeys hurt each other with their talons, clawed hands, and fancy head crests. Sure, it does look beautiful with its signature shiny black furry feathers, but this is a bird you don't want to mess with. Everyone knows that elephants are the world's largest land animal. But did you know that every giant African elephant bull is awarded as the largest living terrestrial animal? Usually, a bull towers more than 11 feet off the ground and weigh from 6 to 9 tons, 5 to 8 metric tons. But bigger bulls stood 13 feet tall and broke weight scales by surpassing 11 tons, 10 metric tons. The heaviest was shot in Angola on 1956, and was said to stand 13 feet tall and weigh almost 16 tons, 14 metric tons. It then became one of the most famous museum pleasers. But the tallest was almost 16 feet high and weighed 9 tons, 8 metric tons. These guys are big bulking animals. Their ear flaps can grow 6 feet long and 5 feet wide. And their tusks, or tushes, can exceed 30 inches long. But the longest were almost 144 inches long. Giant bull elephants with big tusks are called tuskers. Not just that, but their trunk is the longest animal nose, stretching 7 feet long and weighing almost 330 pounds. This was the largest land mammal ever, until the existence of 25-ton elephants occurred.
Indricotherium.
The giant tapir horse. These titans stood 23 feet off the ground, were 26 feet long, and weighed from 8 to a staggering 24 tons, or 18,000 to 54,000 pounds. They were formerly known to weigh 30 tons, or 66,000 pounds. They were gigantic herbivores, using their 6-foot-long necks to reach tall trees. They probably had a prehensile proboscis, and large tusks to strip off leaves from branches, which made them resemble a giraffe-tapir hybrid. Their big size also makes them territorial, aggressive, crushing predators to death with their large feet, and using their long necks to hit at their enemy. They lived in herds, and lived 34 to 23 million years ago. They lived very long during that time. They became a documentary success, even though it looks like a large creature that came out of Star Wars and inspired these cow-like robots. From the Empire, they were only related to rhinoceroses, equines, and even tapirs. Teeth are very important for animals.
That was a baby tooth.
And when you think about fangs, you typically think of big predators or vicious snakes. So with all of that said and done, you're probably wondering, how can a deer have vampire fangs? Well, this deer is different. Vampire deer is a word given to deer or deer-like ruminants that have large saber teeth. That includes species like the water deer and musk deer, with the former being an actual deer and the latter not being an actual deer. Even muntjacs have those so-called fangs. People like to call them deerkala. But they don't use their signature fangs to drink blood. The fangs are actually tusks used for fighting, and are omnivores, meaning that they eat both plants and animals, dead or living. In fact, the tusks actually came from deer relatives, and used their canines in a similar manner to the vampire deer. It's believed that after millions of years, a deer's signature antlers will replace canine teeth, while others still have those ancient sabers that make you want to scream. This is an ostrich, nature's Usain Bolt. It is the tallest and heaviest living bird on Earth. It stands nearly 10 feet off the ground and weighs 346 pounds. It's too heavy to even fly. Traditionally, people think ostriches hide by digging their head in the sand. It was originally just one species in its own genus, Struthio. It then became two species, with only one species having subspecies. The Struthiornithiforms previously included all ratite species. Some people ride on an ostrich, but please be careful with a wild ostrich. Its kick can actually kill a lion, and can run at a maximum speed of 45 miles per hour, faster than Usain Bolt, who barely ran at 30 miles per hour. It is a real-life non-avian dinosaur, and lays the largest eggs out of any living bird, about 24 times larger than a chicken egg.
Like, wow.
Which became a viral YouTube sensation when making pasta. This giant toad has become a serious problem in Florida. The cane toad, Florida's dog killer. This is the biggest toad on Earth, usually reaching 6 to 8 inches in snout vent length and weighing 3 pounds, with the largest reaching 13 inches in snout vent length and weighing 6.5 pounds. Nicknames include marine toad, giant toad, and even Australian cane toad. These big boys were formerly assigned to the Bufo genus, which then became a giant unstoppable tradition that led to the famous nickname, the Bufo toad. But they're now known as South American beaked toads in the genus Brinella, which are mostly found in South America, and are famous for their beak mouths and their colorful black backs that actually scare me to death. But these toads became invasive, causing problems in Australia, Sweden, the Philippines, and worst of all, Florida. That started when the Aussies were having issues with cane beetles eating their canes. In Florida, cats and dogs eat small versions of the cane toad, and they die because the toad has pouches full of creamy poison. Cars run over these toads. This is the sloth bear, the real-life balloon. These sweeties stand 3 feet tall and weigh 320 pounds. They look like a hybrid of a giant dog and a black bear. Even though they look cute upon first sight and like to lick off very sweet
Honey. Ew.
they are literally monsters. They got talons similar to an eagle's talons, causing very bad facial injuries, and can bite as hard as hyenas, making them powerful enough to actually kill a tiger. Isn't that very scary? Even grizzlies and giant polar bears are afraid of this cuddly and playful lover. Don't be fooled by their loving behavior, because this is the most dangerous of all living bears. This creature that looks like a strange creature that came straight out of Star Wars will make people go.
Never heard of it.
This is a tapir, the mini elephant horse. It is a large semi-aquatic hoofed mammal. 4 kinds of these are known: the mountain tapir, the Brazilian tapir, Baird's tapir, and the Malayan tapir, with an unknown but possible 5th. Size ranges from 200 to almost 1,000 pounds, while being from 5 to 8 feet long and being 2 to 5 feet tall. The star of this show is the prehensile nose, named a trunk or proboscis, necessary for ripping leaves off of trees. It also has a tongue, long enough to lick its trunk's nostrils.
Pick Buttercup's nose.
Please don't. Ew.
It looks a bit like a pig, but previously they were known to be part of the hippopotamus genus, along with Hippopotamus amphibius. But they're only related to horses, rhinos, and one of the biggest land mammals ever,
Indricotherium.